Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on the old show today, the Koenigsegg 1-to-1, named especially after the fact that this vehicle in kilograms of weight weighs the exact same as the engine output, which is 1,350 brake horsepower out of its twin turbocharged 5-liter V8. Obviously, that meaning that this vehicle weighs 1,350 kilograms. And it has broken a record that it actually already owns. The Agera R is in the world record, the Guinness Book of World Records, for the quickest 0 to 300 kilometers an hour and back to 0. The 300 kilometers an hour is 186.4114 miles an hour. Now, as far as this lap's concerned, that was at 21.19 seconds. That was the Agera R's time. Again, the 1-to-1 isn't officially in the Guinness Book of World Records, but they did shoot a very nice little video. And I'm assuming that the folks over at Koenigsegg had already laid down the 10 grand, from what I hear, just to get the Guinness folks over there, not to mention paying the room and board and all that good jazz. So I'm assuming they're going to do it again for this 1-to-1. The video is very, very interesting and includes some of the telemetry from the timing system that they used to actually prove that this is real. Now, the new lap for the 1-to-1, 0 to 300 kilometers an hour and back down to 0, they did it in 17.95 seconds. A massive improvement for this particular machine and a very, very intriguing video. Check it out. I got it up on the Facebook page right now, and it's real interesting because the launch, a lot of the run up to 300 kilometers an hour and back down to 0 is done with no hands. The test driver had his hands off of the wheel for most of that particular jaunt, which shows that this vehicle is incredibly stable during acceleration, during braking, and at speed. So pretty doggone impressive deal. The folks over at Volkswagen Group are doing an interesting little situation. The entire Volkswagen Group, which has a lot of manufacturers underneath it, well, they're going to segment some of those manufacturers into smaller groups, which is going to be really interesting, especially the fact that they just, well, the head of Volkswagen Group, Ferdinand Piech, actually just stepped down after a huge power struggle. Now, I've made it no real small situation that I don't really care for the Volkswagen Group. That being said, I really appreciate the way they run this group. And saying that I don't like Volkswagen is mainly, I don't like this whole deal about them going after being the #1 automobile manufacturer. That's something, if you build good cars, it should just come with time. But just going after it, they're ending up exactly in the same situation that Toyota ended up when the quality went right down the crapper after they really tried to go after being #1. Now, Volkswagen's trying to do this as well, and their quality has kind of gone downhill as well. The thing I absolutely adore about this group is the amount of, well, overlap they have inside of this company. As far as their workforce, they have got more people as far as that work on Volkswagen and all their subsidiaries than most manufacturers have for smaller groups and build way more cars. They do a very impressive job of overlapping, and this is something that a lot of companies do nowadays where they do it, where they spread everybody real thin. That's not like the way the Volkswagen Group's trying to do this, which I really like, because they could lose a person and not miss a step. Now, let's talk about this grouping, and I'm not going to put these in any, well, sections of importance, as these are just going to be 4 different groups inside of the Volkswagen Group. And as it is, one group is going to have Volkswagen itself, along with the Czech manufacturer Skoda, and also the Spanish manufacturer Seat. Another group is going to have Audi, along with the Italian manufacturer Lamborghini, and also one of the groups that Audi actually purchased here not too long ago, which shows you a little bit of what goes on inside of the Volkswagen Group. They let one of their own manufacturers go after another manufacturer when they went out and bought the Italian motorcycle group Ducati, which is interesting. Then another group is going to have Porsche alongside of Bugatti and Bentley. Now, the 4th group is basically going to be their heavy truck division inside of the group. So, interesting little situation. It'll be interesting to see just what exactly they have planned for segmenting these groups into the future. Next up on the list, the folks over at Renault have actually shown off the new Alpine concept. And I'm calling it a concept again because they first started talking about this vehicle going to make its debut in and around the hubbub that was the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But this particular machine is a totally different machine than what they've been showing off that they were working on with the folks over at Caterham. And this machine really harkens back a little bit more to the old days that was the old Alpine vehicle that actually they used to rally way back in the days. Looks a lot more like that particular machine. But again, this thing is really more concept form, especially for the fact that Renault has released little to no information. A lot of the information I'm going to share with you is just 100% speculation. Now, they talked about this vehicle being a mid-engine rear-wheel drive. Now, the power is supposedly going to come from maybe either the 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder like out of the Clio Renault Sport Edition. It could come from the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that comes out of the Megane Renault Sport Edition. Again, this vehicle is going to make somewhere around 250 to 300 brake horsepower, maybe more. Again, there's not a whole lot known about this particular machine. I do like the way it looks. It's not near as good looking as the last concept, but that being said, this does look a little bit more production ready of what could be coming to the table. We'll keep you in tune if we hear any more. Last up on the list, time to talk a little bit more Top Gear. The last episode of Season 22 will be hitting the airwaves, and we get an official release date for that particular program, and it's only a little over a week away. It's going to happen on BBC Two on June 28th of 2015. Now, we don't have a release date for the American release for this particular last episode of the last generation of Top Gear. They have been doing throughout the year and throughout season 22 of having it come in the day after the actual first go round in the UK. So I'm assuming that still may be the case, but it may be a couple of more weeks. They did actually bring in Jeremy Clarkson, actually do some voiceover work for this particular franchise one more time, which is a pretty neat little deal. Gonna hopefully wrap the whole thing up, but it may just kind of leave it in limbo as well. Now, another little interesting situation, the folks over at the BBC have officially announced one of the presenters for the next generation of Top Gear, and it's not any of the folks that we rumored about in the past. In fact, one of those people apparently is on his way out because this fellow is going to take over one of the presenting duties, and it is Chris Evans. I can't think of a better person actually put into this seat, at least right off the bat. Going to be interesting where they're going to put two people alongside of him and who those two people may be, but I think Mr. Evans will do a fine job in the next generation of Top Gear. In fact, he's kind of already started in a nice little video. He's doing an interview with Formula One World Champion Lewis Hamilton. They brought in a fellow who they were calling the Stink, who ended up he just ended up being Jason Plato, many-time British touring car champion. He took the brand new LaFerrari around the Dunford Top Gear circuit. Actually only finished up a couple of tenths behind the record-setting vehicle that was in the last franchise. So this is going to be very interesting heading forward. We should have a couple of more announcements about when this is going to be. I don't know if they're going to try to rush this in and try to get this franchise back up and running for a Christmas special like they usually do. We do know that the Top Gear is going to come back in 2016. Again, we're going to have to keep you in tune of that deal as well. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiast. If you want to jump on over to the Facebook page, got a couple of videos from the E3 press conferences that they showed off a couple of auto racing games that were shown off at the E3 video gaming press conferences I checked out earlier this week. Also got a lot of information, a lot of stuff that's coming out over the past several days. That gets updated twice a day. If you want to check it out over there and like us over there, we'd appreciate it. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time and get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.